Just worshipful, tell me about this wonderful place that we're at today.
Well, let me tell you, my first remembrance of the place, Ben, is I'm a third generation Mason,
Yes.
and Dad brought us over. I was probably 9 or 10 years old, and brought us through the gates of this home, and we ended up having lunch up here in the cafeteria. And it was probably 200 children having lunch together. And I can, to this day, still remember what we had for lunch that day. It was barbecue chicken, and I can still capture the smell of the deal. But the impact for me was, I don't know about you, but I didn't grow up having lunch with 200 plus kids in 3 meals a day.
Yeah.
So the impact on me was, it's hard to describe, but did not realize what the impact was until 40 years later, or 30 years later, whatever the time frame was, of what this home means. The home was founded in 1873, as you're aware, so we've been in existence 142 years, and we've had 10,000 children come through those gates.
Wow.
And back out of those gates at this home. Years ago, and you can look around and see, these were the cottages that the children used to be raised in, and they're more like dormitory type deal. So you might go in a room, and there might be 10 beds in one room.
Yes, sir.
And again, Ben, the impact that it had on me was, I didn't grow up, now I did share a room with my brother, but I didn't grow up with, eight other people in a room with us. Right. And so the point there was that I brought Terry, my wife, who you know well,
yes, sir,
down here to Brown Cottage years ago, and you went downstairs in the cottage, and there was probably 2 rows of beds, 5 to a row, and that's where our babies stayed, the little ones,
yeah,
the infants all the way up.
Baby cottage.
And you walked in there, and it had all of these stuffed animals on the bed.
Yes, sir.
And you talk about something that breaks your heart, that these children, first of all, they had a place to come, and we're taking care of them, and they're safe, and they're being taken care of.
Yeah.
But the impact on my wife, she looked at me and said, "Don't you ever do that to me again." And I said, "Really, what do you mean?" She says, "You write the check, we'll support this home. And we'll support it not only financially and spiritually and with our physically, but I don't need to see that to get what we need to do here." So you fast forward to about 13 years ago, a group of guys were meeting, and we're talking about, kids growing up in dormitories. And we didn't grow up in a dormitory growing up.
Right.
So how do you release the children back into the world and prepare them for the world if they're used to this type of thing?
We were just in a moment at that point.
That's right. And so these guys, it was breakthrough thinking really in my mind, before I even knew what breakthrough thinking was, it said we need to build something that resembles what we grew up in. And if you get some shots later down here, you will see the cottages we built 13, 14 years ago.
Yes, sir.
And it's like the Field of Dreams. We didn't have the money to pay for it. And that's what I loved about it, because I grew up in a corporation that if you couldn't come up with a return on investment that was pretty quick, then you didn't invest in the deal. Well, we're investing in children.
Right.
So we're not going to put a dollar sign on investment on a child. We're going to invest in children, regardless. And so these smart guys decided we were going to build these cottages down here. And when you go in them, Ben, you walk in, and it's just like the children have their own little beds, their own bedroom. They have a place where they come. They actually fix lunch, breakfast, and dinner together. The bus drives through here, picks them up just like they did in my neighborhood growing up, and takes them. They have their own chores that they do, and you can see that the children are a whole lot happier. I was here one day with a good dear friend of mine, Tommy Eller, that you know very well, and we were up here having lunch in the cafeteria, and it was one of those special days, and a young lady saddled up to me. And this young lady was about 6 years old, and I've never carried on an adult conversation with a 6-year-old that I've had that day. This child was engaging, she was very social, she was happy, and she was one of 7 children that were residing, siblings that were residing at this home on that date. I remember going back and telling my wife about her and about what it meant to meet her. And you heard me through some of my conversations, I'm not going to say her name, but some of my conversations about her and her siblings that were growing up here in this home.
Yeah.
It's just
and so you got to be friends with her.
Well, we're dear friends. When we pulled up here before I found you today, the first place I go down is the Master Mason cottage where she resides, and she was in bed at 11:30. And so I got on to her a little bit about sleeping in all day, but I got my usual hug. The thing is she's here, she's safe, she's well-rounded, She left us for a couple of years. Mom took the children back away from us. It was very emotional for my wife and I, because Terry loves her as much as I do, and all the children here. We love them all. And when they took them away, it broke our heart. Tears were flowing. I hope she's okay, because, you know, we'll take the children here and look after them and send them off to college and pay for them to go to college. You know, you can't beat that. And so,
and it's a story that's told over and
right.
over. Her story is personal for you, but it's over and over. We tell the same story, right?
It's just a great example. And I was actually in Black Mountain, and Chris Richardson and I were meeting for a district meeting, and Chris calls me and says, let's meet at the coffee shop. I got some news to tell you. Now, she's been away from us and her siblings for a couple of years, and Chris says she and her siblings are coming back.
Wow.
You know, it was like, the hair just stood up on the back of my neck that they were coming back here. And so when she came back, I had a conversation with her down here in the old baby cottage, which now is the Cobb Center, and talked about, you know, if you'll stay here with us, we're going to take care of you and take care of your needs. One night I was on the campus walking with her sister, and just the situation they were in for those couple of years, you know, it was just not a good thing. Right. But she's back with us, and teenager, and her older sister, you know, proms and things of that nature. And I told Terry not long ago that we're going to be buying prom dresses before long and taking care of them.
So this is the young lady that spoke to annual communication.
No, this was a different young lady. The one that spoke to annual communication just graduated, and I've known her since she was a little girl. And of course, you know, being the opportunity there that day is there wasn't a dry eye in the house.
Right.
You know, you got 1,000 Masons sitting in a room together, right. And she's telling her story, and she's struggling getting through her story. You know, and we all got tears flowing. The missed opportunity for me that day was should have passed a hat. And it should have passed a hat, and maybe somebody will have that happen. In fact, I think we've got one coming again this fall to speak at the annual communication.
Well, what do you think that this place means? We know what it means to the children. What do you think it means to the Masons in North Carolina?
I think based on our obligations to support widows and orphans, I think our brothers love this place. And if you'll come over here, there's something going on all the time with the lodges. It could be as simple as a cookout or taking them out to play golf or whatever. The guys love this place. The deal is once you get them here, you don't have to, you know, we adopt them.
Right.
You know, this place is about growing hearts and adopting others and extending our family. Yeah. And once you get here, we get you adopted. You're going to come back.
That's right.
And you're going to do things for this home without being asked to do things for this home.
It sells itself.
Absolutely. It's just it's a place God created. We've served God and children here at this place in Oxford.
Amen.
Yeah.
Can you actually have lodge here? Can
yeah.
Can your lodge have lodge meeting
You
here?
can get dispensation. I was just looking, being right there is the Orphans Lodge 761 meets right here in this building.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a wonderful thing because I'm a charter member of that as well. But yeah, come over and have your lodge meetings. They've got a little cottage down here, brown cottage, that they'll put you up in, sort of deal, and you come and do what you need to do, whether it's landscaping day or just general work around this property.
So you can actually get, the Grand Master will grant you a dispensation to have your lodge, Blackmore 127,
right,
to come meet in this building.
Absolutely, and I'm sure he'll grant it real quick.
Well, that was a wonderful idea. I wish we had one of these over at Whitestone.
Well, I think they're working on it, actually.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope we get one over there because I love that idea of being able to bring your lodge here and do real masonry, operative masonry, so to speak.
Right,
Yeah,
right. You know, and they meet, the Orphans Lodge meets once a quarter over here, and it's a beautiful thing, especially during homecoming. Maybe we ought to talk about that a little bit, coming up this fall. Well, it comes up every fall, like in October, but if the brothers haven't been here, it's just a great day, or a couple of days actually. They're cooking over here. They have a contest. They have bands show up.
They're not just cooking.
No, not just cooking. Yeah.
Tell me about the barbecue. I came one year and it was wonderful.
Well,
but tell me what it was like.
Well, it was, you know, you can imagine 20 some odd cookers over there, and these guys pulling up in these Cadillac cookers.
Right.
Not your daddy's old cooker like you used in the backyard kind of thing. And they're competing, but they're not really competing. They're here for the fellowship. And so they'll cook all night, and the next day you get to enjoy the cooking of the deal. But also the next day, the biggest shrine parade in North Carolina comes right through these gates. Yeah. And I often tell people that if you can't bring your children, bring your grandchildren. Because if I can get your grandchild here, I can get you here, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. So they had quit that for a while, right? Didn't they used to have the parade, and then they quit having the parade, and now it's going gangbusters again?
Yeah, they used to have it on St. John's Day, which is in June, and just decided it was just an awful hot time of year to be doing something.
Amen.
And October seems to be a better time. And Johnny Searles will tell you, there's probably 3,000 or 4,000 people on this campus, on that Saturday to enjoy the day with the children. And the children are out here, engaged with what's going on. They're selling shirts, they're selling Coke, or they're selling whatever they're selling, and we're all buying whatever they're selling.
Right. Yeah, it's really a great day. I wish we could get more guys to come see it. So there's a hotel here in town. You can stay
Yeah,
at the
there's
hotel,
one
or
right
you
across.
drive
There's one right across.
35.
Right across the interstate, and then up in Henderson. And like I said, Ben, if you bring 8 or so of you, they'll put you in right down here at Brown Cottage. When you set up. Again, you do it for the fellowship.
Yeah.
Because if you do it for the fellowship, the rest of it will take care of itself. And I truly believe that. Yeah, I've heard that somewhere before. And I truly believe if you do it for the fellowship, good things will happen.
There's so many people that haven't seen this campus, and everybody knows it's a great idea, but it just breaks my heart when I hear about guys that just aren't coming to see it, because once you get here, I know how much you're going to fall in love with it.
Right.
And so I'm really excited that Wilkerson College is holding one of their sessions here so that all those guys can see it. And now the current Grandmaster has started to have these the DDGM meetings where they're going to come to each of the campuses, because it's hard to represent it if you're not familiar with it.
Yeah.
And I know what not only is it good for Masonry and good for the entities, but it's good for you as an individual.
Oh, absolutely.
When you come and see, you feel the vibe here, and you feel the energy here, and you get engaged with something that's bigger than yourself.
That's right. And you can feel the work of people like Kevin Otis and Chris Richardson and the staff here that are doing things to maintain and grow this facility. Our only hope and desire is that we could help more children, and more children could come and be a part of this home.
I think we're going to continue to do that for a long time.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I often say it, over my dead body will we close this place, and I truly mean that. It's just, again, this is a place that God created, and Masons have been serving God and children for 142 years at this place we call Oxford.
Amen. Thank you for showing me around. Let's go inside.
Yeah.